I'll request you all to please be seated. With this, we have our moderator, Ms. Kavita Bansal, who's joined us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us here on stage. I would now like to request our moderator to welcome our speakers as well, while I'll be inviting them here on stage with a bouquet. I would like to invite Mr. Mandar Mhatre, Chief Revenue Officer, to please join us here on stage. Welcome, sir. I would like to invite Mr. Kiran Deshpande from 14 Tree Foundation to please join us here on stage. And everybody sitting here on the stage as an audience, it's time that we welcome them with full energy, because since it's almost the last session, it's time that we show that with energy and with some claps that we are genuinely excited to listen to them. And lastly, I'd like to call Mr. Nitin Kakaria, who is the Chief Business Officer at Delphic Capital Partners. A big warm welcome to Welcome, sir. And now is the time that you all would be witnessing a very important question. We've been talking about what AI is doing, how our life was before, how it's going to interact with humans. But now is a very important question, that is to listen to the future, that how we're going to manage the future with AI. I would now like to give the stage to our moderator and speakers, and we are really excited to listen to the insights. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the last session of the day. But it is the most relevant topic, and we've been discussing on artificial intelligence for a while. But still it is not enough, because we need so many perspectives, so many thoughts around AI. It is the buzzword today. In the 1990s, we were captivated by the limitless potential of the internet. Then came the smartphones, which changed the way we thought, we worked, and we lived. Today, we stand at the edge of yet another such revolution, which is artificial intelligence. It's not just an app or a faster chip. It is rewriting the very code of how we operate and exist. It is already driving our cars, composing music, diagnosing diseases, and redefining decision-making. I wish AI could cook for us. It would really help. The disruption we are witnessing is profound, impacting our daily lives and fundamentally changing how businesses are built and run. The goal of today's session is to explore the speed, scale, and impact of this transformation. And for this, I'm delighted to be joined by our esteemed panel. I welcome Nitin, who's the Chief Business Officer at Delphic Capital Partners, which is a Singapore-based fund-managed company. I also welcome Kiran Deshpande, who's the co-founder of Mojo Networks, former CEO of Tech Mahindra, Executive Council member of CEMEX, which is the Center of Excellence for Semiconductors at IIT Mumbai, and he's also a mentor to semiconductor startups. Last but not the least is Mandar, who's the Chief Revenue Officer at Formidium, which is a tech-driven global fund administrator serving a wide range of funds in PE, VC, and other alternative investment strategies across 25 global jurisdictions. Welcome to all. I am Kavita Bansal, Senior Vice President at Formidium, which is also the sponsor of Investor Lounge today. Welcome to all.
Thank you.
So I would want to start with how do you see AI impacting the asset management industry? This is specifically for maybe Nitin.
Hi. I believe AI is going to be here for very long term. AI has been now embedded in most of these mutual fund companies or asset management companies. It not only helps us do a lot of research in a very fast-paced environment, it also helps, at a real-time basis, helps us evaluate the portfolio's performance based on their risk, parameters, etc. So I think AI is going to evolve. It's just the beginning, and we will see a lot of new models which will be coming up in next couple of months, years, and it will keep evolving, and we have to live with it. So yeah.
Mandar, any thoughts?
The impact on asset management is straight away clear. You're seeing increasingly Gen AI doing the work, the grunt work which an analyst would do. You're also seeing a lot of portfolio management and portfolio monitoring happening due to AI. There are multiple tools which are available which give you detailed insights into your portfolio companies. And that allows fund managers to free up time from mundane tasks and focus on really things which matter. So definitely there is a lot more impact. The bigger question is how do you manage in a world of AI, which we'll talk about a bit later.
Okay, thank you. What are the challenges faced by our IT industry and how can AI solve some of these?
Kavita, I just pick one sentence. Uh, I don't know how many people know, but AI is a senior citizen. It's, it'll qualify from the time it was conceptualized, but it is now wise and behaving like a youngster.
So it's not a toddler.
It's not a toddler, it's a youngster, very smart youngster, and it is disrupting many things, but that's how computing has been. So it will disrupt, but it's not the first time that a technology has disrupted everything, but we have come out and taken the leap forward. Specific to your question, IT services industry, the big players, the IBM, the TCS, they'll figure a way out of it. And there are multiple ways they can do it. If you're a small company with very clear differentiation and smart people, I think the price point which would have driven you to death is possible to now make a lot of money. However, if you are not smart, then if your price points are like $10, $12, $15 an hour, and you want to play in this game, you're playing either the wrong dice or the wrong table. So there are a large number of IT service companies that have come about in last 20, 25 years as a low-hanging fruit because of the cost arbitrage, the growth, billable hours as the unit, and a whole bunch of things. For them, it's a serious challenge to reinvent their business, including looking at some of their people who are not scalable and doing that whole re-engineering. So if I'm a founder, I'll go back to the drawing board. As a technologist, I want to share with you one thing. As a technologist, computing coming from glass houses to desktop for enterprise, to desktop for personal, to laptop, on my laptop for enterprise and personal, to my phone, on my wrist, into my body. So for technologists, it's probably the best time. The second phase is starting. AI is probably leading that.
That's quite nice. Many people believe that AI works better in decentralized organizations where decisions are closer to the work. What are your thoughts on it?
That's the right way of looking at what an artificial intelligence could do, right? Each one of us has to question whether we really add value to our work, what area of the work is repeatable. AI is right in the middle to learn what decisions you've made, and then you need to start decentralizing all the decision making and just act as the guardrail for whatever AI is doing from decentralized perspective. It's the model of future. It's the model which is very different than what Henry Ford taught us, what Drucker Popoff did. The model is changing, the business is changing. You no longer can run a centralized organization, you no longer can run a bureaucratic organization, simply because the market will demand better efficiency, the market will demand faster time, and bureaucracy and centralization kills that. So you have to start thinking of decentralized models, and then you have to start thinking of how do you manage in a decentralized world.
Any examples that you've implemented AI in your organizations?
So a lot of them, So we started this journey of believing in AI about maybe 2 or 3 years back, where we were very clear that this is the technology of future. It was not question of whether we should do it or not. It was very clear to us that this will happen. And we started reorganizing our business in a way where we could benefit from it. So one of the earliest things which we did was use an AI agent to understand how people are using their time. What we found out interestingly was a lot of the time was just going on internal Teams call. These were just Teams meeting between team member, not even with the client. So one of the messages which we delivered was how do we reduce Teams time, right? So it was much more of a collaborative approach. It helped us reduce a lot of time, internal time. It obviously improved work-life balance for a lot of folks. Then the second thing which we started to do was to start looking at how do we manage work, how that work allocation happens. So we built our own internal engine, a ticketing system, plus an email box, which we call as Care, which allows us to now look at work in real-time basis and manage it on dashboards without really having escalations. And then the third thing which we did was we said that no longer the old hierarchies of HR, finance, sales, marketing, ops, technology really remain in the business. So business is really now either you're making a product or you're selling a product. A very simple concept. So we just reorganized the whole firm into those two buckets, make or sell. And we've seen a lot of benefits come out of it. We've seen a much more stronger, streamlined organization, much more efficient organization. But at the same time, we are faster to market, right? So one of the things which we now can do is rather than sitting and debating about whether this idea will work or not, we can use our creative structure or the infrastructure which we've created, both on tech as well as human side, to very quickly execute on the idea and see whether it works or not. Right, so we are saying market is a better judge of whether a product will work or not as against the senior leadership, which is limited in its own perspective and its own way. Market is much more wiser than us. So let's hear from market. So it allows us to launch faster. It allows us to scale faster. It also allows us to backtrack if we don't see really any traction, just park it on and build our business much faster.
Anything from you, Nitin?
I totally agree with Mr. Mandar here. What he is saying is the way forward. Less human intervention is more welcoming. As he rightly said, that humans only have limited thoughts or limited exposure, and the world is changing pretty fast. So I think machine learning and AI are the way forward.
I'll give you a real-life example. I'm no longer a practicing software engineer. When I became CEO, I had to stop doing that. But very recently, in 15 minutes, what I went through, handwritten notes, scribbled handwritten notes to a pretty decent Word document. I asked ChatGPT, give me a data model. So when I'm asking ChatGPT, give me a data model, it probably figured out that I'm not an illiterate in data modeling. So it asked me a question, shall I give you an Excel or a Postgres in Postgres SQL? I said, give me both. And not only it did that, it reorganized the tables in Postgres and presented me a picture with core tables right in the center. This whole process, even with the experts, would have taken 3 months and 2 people. This was 15 minutes with me, who's a retired person.
So 15 minutes versus
So
3 months.
This is significantly, if I'm a CEO, I can have today 2 or 3 interns who are AI and make my life easy. If I'm a professional talking to someone for a system, the conversation recorded into a model is half an hour. So whether you're a sales executive, you're a founder, you're a CTO, it has just pitchforked everything forward. Because AI is doing a lot of grunt work behind you. I want to share one thing. A good friend of mine who's a TiE charter member puts data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. And his theory is impact of technology starts reducing from data is a maximum impact to wisdom, which is minimum impact, where human beings come in. Do not think AI is that wise today. It is pretty smart, but not wise. And wisdom has to come from us. So if you combine the two, I think significant benefit. I'll share one thing with you. One of the founders of a company which might do an IPO in next 2 to 3 years told me that I gave ChatGPT account to all my employees, and I can clearly see who's using and who's not using.
Wow. So a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take away their jobs. So what is your advice to them? Because AI is here to stay, and we all need to really upskill ourselves to make ourselves relevant in this environment. So what are some of your advice to all of us?
You know, like everything, you could look at it as half empty or half full. In our mind, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to grow in your career. You know, a lot of leverage of technology, not just AI, but all forms of technology, allows you or frees up your time. That time available to you is how you use it. You can use that to upskill yourself. You can use it to start thinking much more about your work, to start thinking much more about your business, and then build on top of it. So in our point of view, it's a massive opportunity because it just frees up so much of your mundane time and gets you that time where you can focus on things that really matter to you. So my advice is leverage that time. Don't be scared out of it. The industry and the AI technology is obviously moving very, very fast and very rapidly. Just see how can you use that. It's not the first time that technology is changing, right? In 90s, you got Excel, and people were scared that their jobs will go. If you all have stayed in India, you would remember banks went on national strike because banks wanted to computerize. But did banking industry suffer because of that, or did it become much more efficient? So similarly with AI, it will become much more efficient. There will be newer areas of opportunity. Within financial services space, we see a lot of opportunity. Within asset management space, we see a lot of opportunity. It will become much more smarter. Hopefully, it will also allow us to reorganize meetings and conduct them on time, right? So that we don't do a panel at 7 p.m. But it will do a lot of those things which hereto you thought were impossible, possible.
If I take a 60,000 view of this, of global India, etc., technology has always created jobs, more jobs than it took away. If you look at the last 60 years of computing, having said that, there will be some collateral damage of job lost. But there is another thing. I'll give you one interesting example comes to my mind. One of our charter members in Pune runs a company which is anchored on AI. They read what radiologists do manually through their vision. Two things happen. One is the number of radiologists are so low in India, and they are not there in small towns. Today, you take that, give it to AI. Now, you don't have radiologists. Where is the question of job loss?
Yeah, you get the report, I
Exactly.
think, in the next
You're doing
15
it.
minutes
You're saving
on
life.
your
So
mobile
technology
phone.
is saving. Having said that, I think one of the computer scientists more than 50 years back said, now that the computing is doing a lot of automation for us, we'll have time for pleasures, leisure, art, music and everything. I think more people are working today than doing pleasure and leisure. So technology will put you to work,
That's true, that's true.
Sorry, I'll also very quickly add to this, right? If you look from India's perspective, a lot of technology has impacted India, but in AI's case, we are also one of the largest consumers of AI. If you look at any report, we're probably one of the biggest consumers of AI in terms of volume, maybe not in terms of revenue. So Indians are clearly way ahead, whether their organizations are adopting it or not, people are using AI. Everybody is using now ChatGPT for travel recommendations, food recommendations. In fact, I had to fire my gym trainer because I have started to use ChatGPT to figure out a gym schedule for me. So there is a large inherent opportunity domestically available, right? What you already have is foundational models which are in place, which are formed by Claude or Perpetuity or whoever it is. What is missing is personalized use of those models, and that is where the large opportunity is. What is missing is how do you make smaller companies adopt to this new world, which is a very different world. You know, if you are running a manufacturing company who's been doing the same thing for last 20 years, can you really use AI to make your processes better, to find your clients, to do whatever you have to do, right? So there is that opportunity on consulting side, and I think Indians have generally adopted very well to those kind of what in the initial phase looks like an ancillary opportunities to create a massive industry out of it. You know, you remember software was a $1 million industry in 88, 89 and is now $200 billion industry, right? It has come out of nowhere. Nobody thought that was an opportunity, and I think AI will create similar opportunity for India. So at least I'm very, very positive from an Indian mindset perspective.
No, one more thing, Kiran. Talking about job losses, like in Singapore, the government of Singapore is focusing a lot on skills, upgradation. So to minimize your, being a useless person in the office, so to say, if you are upgrading yourselves, on the real-time basis, I'm sure you can still find value and be useful in some form or the other. So this initiative should be self-driven by most of the people who feel threat, and then maybe keep learning and keep upgrading yourself. Even me, myself, during COVID time, I did the courses on blockchain and all that, which I had no idea of 4 or 5 years ago. So I mean, it should be taken in a very positive way, and I think that's the way forward. Keep learning, keep evolving.
I think this
Another
is the
another thing I
takeaway
will
for
share with you.
all of us.
Another thing I will share with you is, see, those of people in the audience who are founders and running service companies. They are there, if they are small, they have trusted customers and clients. The client will come to you asking, how do I implement AI? And India is the service capital of the world. Whatever model you use, I will make it work for you. That piece of unique capability, faster we realize, rather than running after something that's ours. Like मेरे पास माँ है, आप कुछ भी करो, माँ मेरे पास है. I will make it work for you. And re-engineering, if I put it AI under that bucket, has been bread earner for a lot of us, desirably, undesirably, for a long period of time. So we have to catch that piece and grow the company. That founder's challenge.
I'll add something to this. You know, I keep on hearing the criticism that India lacks capital, right? And I'm picking up a quote from Kiran, and he said to me that, think through history, how have Indians dealt with it? And I asked him actually, what does he mean? Kiran and I had opportunity to spend some time together. So he said, remember Shivaji, what did he do? He defeated a Mughal army which was 100x larger, much more well capitalized, because he understood what were his strengths and he used guerrilla warfare. So I think it's time for Indian IT to start thinking in terms of guerrilla rather than do a carpet bombing, which you really are not going to win with a limited capital set.
Absolutely true. And what an analogy to AI. When AI is influencing decisions, but people are still responsible for the results. So how accountability be defined in such cases?
So guardrails are fairly important. When you're thinking of an AI strategy, it's not as if you're just going to go and sit and deploy the agents. You will have a product manager who's really thinking about what the use case is. You will obviously have a tech team which is working with the product manager, and then you will define your checks and balances in those scenarios. What you also want to do is, when you're looking at where do you implement agents, is to look at decisions which are lower risk and which are reversible. What I mean is that they don't cause you a damage of shutting a farm. You can, if those things are not going well, you can just reverse that decision and very quickly make those changes. And then lastly, you have to give comfort to whoever is using it that that your job is not at the risk simply because this thing has happened. Because everybody is right now in a phase where it is still a bit of experimentation for everyone. So a combination of how do you structure it from an organization perspective, a combination of what results do you want to achieve around it, what are the guardrails, and the reversibility of that decision is how I would think about it.
I think we have become pretty good at disclaiming. Even ChatGPT or other generative AI say we can make mistakes. So do not don't make us responsible because we will make mistakes. So, and in software and computing, we do make mistakes. Sometimes unknowingly they happen, and those things will happen. But our legal framework, if I have to pick the first guardrail that will be there, I think trust in the technology will be the second one. And third thing, I think, human wisdom, let's not undermine the human wisdom to say, I'm not going to use this AI generated recommendation because I don't feel good about it. So, three things we should keep. So, do not become blind to it. But technology will make mistakes. Trust me on that.
So just taking a cue from this, as organizations are removing layers and giving more autonomy, what are some of the things that leaders need to really put in check and be careful about?
If you're asking me, I'm not a practicing executive today, but, and this is my personal view, as a CEO, as a founder, more you enable and less you control, more success comes your way. That's my personal view. Do not overly control. Let people use the tools, you enable it, and you provide the overarching leadership. And that means breaking the boundaries, as Mandar keeps saying, we have to relook at the organization design. So I don't have here is the pill to an organization. Situational thinking for founders, to me, is very paramount. A founder has to find a way at that particular point in time for which no precedence exists. And that you will have to do. If you do 7 out of 10 times right, you will be all right.
So if I have to talk specifically from what we've experienced and what we've been doing, our core philosophy has always been be good. Think always positively and good about everybody who's working with you, whether they are your clients, whether they are your colleagues, or whether they are your vendors. The second philosophy is that we want to be very clear in terms of our communication. So we understand as a leadership what do we want to achieve, and we very clearly articulate that to happen. At the same time, we are very patient about it. We don't want to rush into it. We want to give time to people to adjust, adopt, and then define what they want to do. Thirdly, we want to build in much more transparency and much more ownership, which means a lot more decentralization. But at the same time, provide opportunities. What happens with decentralization is that naturally the middle management starts to feel pressure. However, there is embedded value in middle management in terms of either mentoring, in terms of understanding customers better, solving problems better. So they eventually and naturally move into those roles. And you have to have patience to allow that to happen naturally within an organization. It takes time. Sometimes that journey may not be very pleasant to a lot of people because a lot of folks are just used to what I call as Ford Ducker way of managing. So there is a change in the way the things have evolved. You have to be patient, let people then understand it, and then work with them. Spend a lot of time thinking about how they can build their future, guiding them, nudging them to the right direction. And lastly, making everyone understand that roles will become fungible. Somebody may be doing sales today, may not necessarily do sales tomorrow. They may be doing something else, which is priority for an organization, right? So the skills which will then really matter more than functional skills are softer skills of how do you communicate better, are you clear, not clear, are you solving problem? Are you a solution-oriented people or a person, or are you somebody who's crying a lot about all the challenges which you see and the changes which you see? Are you adaptable to everything which is happening around you? So those skills will start to matter a lot. Obviously, I'm not saying that the technical skills and those will go off. They'll matter, but some of the softer skills will also start to play an important role. And as a leadership, you have to have a lot of empathy and patience while that transition happens. You just suddenly can't shut your shop and tomorrow say that I'm going to go 100% AI, so I don't need anyone, right? There is already a lot of talk within the Silicon Valley that time is not far when you'll see a one-person unicorn company. I personally think it will happen, but old businesses or traditional businesses will take time to adjust to that new reality, and everybody will take time to adjust to that new reality.
Thank you, Mandar. As we move towards the last question of the day, I wanted all of you to maybe respond to this question. So will AI success depend on better technology or better management and implementation? And what role will India play in it?
I think both go in tandem. AI and management will have to be working together. There is no either or. Uh, as we keep talking about, it's all about new models being evolved in the machine learning, and that's from where the AI picks up their stuff. So more data is inputted, the better the models become. So the people who oversee the information which is being put in, those people are, responsible enough to ensure that it's vetted, the information is not a hearsay, and it's all, real and current. So I think it has to be in tandem. Of course, as we discussed earlier, that more autonomy should be given to AI, less human intervention, but on the back end, the information for the new models to be created has to be done by the management.
See, technology is as good as implementation, and it should be flawless. It should be natural and easy to use to the point where people forget that there is a technology behind it. Like, we get into an automobile and press the button and the car starts. You don't even think. So there is a technology behind it. I think that needs to happen, number one. I think my personal view is India has a huge role to play in making that happen globally. So if I were a founder today, I would say, wow, let me go back to my customer and say, I will make it happen for you. That's my view.
So you've asked me a really hard question, whether technology is important or whether management is important. I would like to say management.
Tandem.
I would like to say management because it puts my job at risk. But in an ideal world, I would imagine technology aiding more and more decision making in management, right? Because what happens with leadership is generally they've got mental models in place which helps them solve challenges much faster than anyone else, right? And they leverage a lot of their experience, a lot of their insight into business to solve it, and that's why they become leaders. I would imagine that if you feed the right information and the right knowledge into a model, that model should be able to do better result without a bias. People will still have a bias into it. So I would hope that technology replaces me, but at the same time, I would challenge myself to find something else to do, right? So I would try to find, is there an opportunity which I had missed simply because I lacked time? Is there something which I could do to do my business better? Can I spend more time with customers to understand their problem, their challenges, and devise a better way of working? Those are the kind of things which I would like to do, as technology evolves. So again, as I said, hard answer. As of today, as Kiran said, technology is still a teenager, AI is still a teenager. I dread to give my family finances to my teenager daughter. So similarly, I dread to give everything to technology of today. But when my daughter becomes a mature adult, I would be more than happy to handle my finances to her. Same with technology. I would really want technology to replace my job, frankly, right? So that it gives me much more time to do things which can add substantially more value to the business which we are looking to build and to deliver that value to our consumers. Your last part of question was what will happen with India? I think India will always present an unique opportunity. We are already moving towards a multipolar world, so we'll have to start thinking about how do you own the tech stack, which we don't own today. If you're going to rely on tech stack which is based on Chinese model, US models, there is an inherent security risk in it. And I'm not an expert in those things, but the way I understand is if you can control the model, you can control the output of that model. So I dread to think of a situation where some of these guys suddenly become enemy state and the things which they could do to India. So in my mind, there's no doubt that India will have to to control the model. India will have to start thinking about how do they build that world, right? So we'll have to become the producer of that technology. Otherwise, we'll always end up being consumer of that technology, and that's not a great place to be in my mind. So, it's an evolving world. It can go anywhere. But again, what I'm hoping is all of those things. I simply don't have a good answer for your question.
No, but more power to India and to all of us. Thank you to all.
I want to share one thing. See, when you open a computer, whether your mobile phone or your laptop or whatever, I always get frustrated with the idiocy of the software. Whether it is a bot, it is endless messages, and all of it is unintelligent. I think we need to solve that problem for technology to be more meaningful. So my view to all my software developers is use AI, but don't look so stupid in front of a user like what we do today.
That's true. With this, I think we've come to the end of this discussion. Thanks to all the panelists and all to the lovely audience who've stayed back so late in the day. See you all tomorrow. And I hope all of us take this takeaway back. How can we implement AI in our daily lives and in our day-to-day jobs? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kavita.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful panel. And I must say that till the end, if so many people are sitting, this clearly shows how much value we have added through the entire discussion.